Are we live? Is this thing on? You bet your booty we're live, and I'm joined by the wonderful Mr. JC again. We finally got Don P. Patrick Pucci in the
Finally.
house. Thank you guys for joining me. I see both of you smiling ear to ear. You know why? Because football's back, baby!
Football.
Let's freaking go. So, what I want to do and what we're going to do is we're going to go through the daytime slate. We're going to go through every game during the day, so the 1 o'clock games, the 4 o'clock games, and we're going to talk about DFS options. We're going to talk about potential props. We're going to talk about players we like, dislike. If you have any questions in the chat, by all means, fire it off, and we'll gladly respond to you. But without further ado, let's start off with the first game on the docket. We got Arizona Cardinals coming in as 7-point underdogs against the Washington Commanders. If you sign up on Owner's Box DFS, we will match your initial deposit up to $500 when you use promo code DISCO. Promo code DISCO. Without further ado, fellas, I'll start off with you, Pat, because we haven't had you here yet.
Oh boy, put me on the spot right now.
Who do you like on Arizona? Is there anybody in particular you like on Arizona? Because I'm
not really many of any. Maybe James Conner, and that's I don't even like that. I mean, look at that over under 38. That's all basically on. I mean, it just looks desperate. There's not going to be much of anything. You know, maybe in a 2-quarterback league, I don't even know if I want to go Dobbs. I mean, he's going to run the ball. At least you get some running out of it. But who do you really like out there? I don't know how they're going to score. How do you think they're going to score?
I don't. That's the thing. I don't.
They might get shut out.
Like the Arizona Cardinals are one of those teams that I don't want to talk about because it's redundant. It's useless. They're awful. They're going to be awful, and it's just a bad deal overall. What about you, JC? Do you like anybody here on the Arizona side, or do we want to start talking about Washington?
Yeah, let's start talking about Washington.
All right. And speaking of James Conner, he's priced at $6,100, and I have him projected for 13.7 fantasy points. So it's kind of rich for my tastes. So
yeah.
let's go over to Washington. Is there any? Oh, we got some chats. Melissa Harris says hi. What up, Melissa? Kobe the Cow Dog says, oh, all clear. We can't really pull up the chat because it's blocking out my man's face. Godwin says, hey, bud, what's up, Godwins? All right, so Washington side. Now, in terms of money line, they're at minus 350, so it's not really desirable. Do you anticipate, either one of you, that Washington's going to cover the spread?
Yeah, easy.
I think they'll cover.
You'll think they'll cover? Okay, yeah, I agree there too. Now, in terms of Antonio says, what up? What up, Antonio? Scott Reynolds says, I made it. Thank you for tuning in, folks. So in terms of anybody on the Washington Commanders side, is there any player in particular that you like? I want exposure to this guy right away. We'll start with you, JC.
Let's go with either of the running backs, either Antonio Gibson or Brian Robinson. I think once they get out to a little bit of a lead, maybe that's 7 points, 10-point lead, 13-0, maybe 13-3.
Yeah.
They'll want to control the clock. They'll want to control the possession. Either of the running backs is probably a good play here.
Okay. Now, if you had to pick between 5,400 Brian Robinson or 5,100 Antonio Gibson, who would you pick, or would you go with both on Owner's Box DFS?
Brian Robinson's 5,100.
Antonio Gibson's 5,100. Brian Robinson is 54.
Give me Gibson just for the catchability.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe both though, if you want to. I mean, they're going to run the ball all day, right? Clock telling everything. I mean, all day long, it's going to be both of them are going to produce.
Yeah, I'm shocked to see that Jahan Dotson's coming in at $5,000, relatively low for him. I have him projected for 12.1 fantasy points, and then I have Terry McLaurin projected for 12.8, and he's coming in at a whopping 5,900. But like Jahan Dotson, I would gladly put in a few lineups. But the guy who I'm super bullish on, because last year the Arizona Cardinals were the worst defense in this one statistical category, is Logan Thomas. They were dead last against defending the tight end position last year. And Logan Thomas is projected to have 8 to 12 fantasy points. And he's coming in at the price of 3,800. So that's pretty decent savings. Jeremy Thiel says Diami Brown. Geez, that's a good name. Godwin says, I love Dotson. Beeline. That's Beeline Pride, by the way. Yeah. Okay. So is there anything else that you guys want to talk about in terms of this game in particular? Is there any start sits recommendations here, or you guys want to go on to the next game?
Well, again, I'd go back to Logan Thomas, right?
Yeah.
So, a young quarterback or a rookie quarterback is going to want to rely on his running backs and his tight end.
Yeah.
Very good point. Very good point.
And 2-quarterback game. I mean, I might run the rookie quarterback out here. I mean, this is going to be one of his easiest games all year, right?
Talking Sam Howell?
Yeah, Sam Howell.
All right, let's see. I got Sam Howell projected for 16.6 fantasy points, and he's coming in at a pretty decent price of $6,000. So
yeah,
he's just above the middle of the pack. So I don't think it's a bad deal, especially in one of these DFS tournaments. And speaking of the DFS tournament, I want everybody to know, you can see here on this little thumbnail under the two teams playing, it's a $2 buy-in for this tournament. It is a super flex. First place wins 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. They get all expenses paid, behind the scenes access to everything. That you guys get to meet whoever's doing the singing. You guys get to meet the players. Your tickets are on package. Yeah, the tickets are on the 50-yard line in the first row. It's pretty spectacular.
Incredible.
All right, and it's $2 buy-in. You get to play some fantasy football. Use promo code DISCO. We'll match your initial deposit. All right, so we got to move on to the next game?
Yeah.
All right, we got.
As soon as I get my headphones situated, no problem.
We got the Carolina.
I'm good.
Visiting the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are -3.5 favorites in this game. We'll start with you, Poochie. Let's talk Carolina. Is there anybody in Carolina that you'd be willing to start?
I don't mind Miles Sanders. I think he's going to get a lot of rock. I think being in Philly, he was one of 3 backs. Carolina likes to feature one guy, right? It could be a really good game.
True, and his price isn't awful. He's coming in at $5,800. We got him projected for 12.2 fantasy points. I don't know if I would pay that price for Miles Sanders.
Probably not.
And that Atlanta run defense is relatively solid. So I don't know if I'm there with Miles Sanders. That receiving core in general is not only atrocious, but they're banged up and injured. So what about the Carolina side for you, JC? Is there anybody on Carolina that you like in this format here on Owner's Box?
I think I'll go back to with the Commanders. A rookie quarterback is going to want to rely on his running backs and his tight ends. I'm not a big Miles Sanders guy, but what about Hayden Hurst? I think he'd be the only play here.
Ooh, Hayden Hurst. All right, let's look at our projection.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't like that over-under either. That's another low one, Anytime you get them low games, that's a stay away from me.
Yeah, so Hayden Hurst is priced at $3,600, which is dirt cheap. And that. I have him projected for 7.3 fantasy points. I don't think I would play him. I don't think he's a very desirable tight end.
I wouldn't play him either, but if we have to, go through each and every single matchup.
Yeah, and if you're scrambling for a tight end at the end, I guess, right? You used all your money up.
But here's the thing: if there's a team that pops up like the Arizona Cardinals, and you say you want nothing to do with them, I'll completely agree, and we can go on to the next team like the Atlanta Falcons. So let's talk Atlanta Falcons. Whichever one of you want to go first, is there anybody that you think is a must play in this tournament format on the Atlanta Falcons?
I'd say Bijan. I'm ready right away.
Okay.
Why?
Why Bijan?
I just think they didn't take him in the first round and not use him full effect. It's always on. Look at Gibbs the other day. He's on pace for over 1,000 yards, even with that game that they said is not so great, right? 1,000 total all-purpose yards right now. Even after that, with that projection, if you keep
he was at 6.7 yards per touch was Jahmyr Gibbs, which is absolutely spectacular. What about you, JC?
All right. You guys are sitting down, right? I know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. What we saw on Thursday night was classic rookie starting in the NFL. He looked wonderful, Jameer Gibbs, right? Is it that crazy to think that Bijan Robinson may not just go from 0 to 100 in 2 seconds in this game? I don't think it's that crazy, right? I think he's
Right.
going to do better in terms of fantasy points than Jameer Gibbs did.
I do
However, Tyler Algier is in his second season as a professional. If we all believe that the Atlanta Falcons will use him, okay, along with Bijan in all facets of their game, especially obviously the run, then it's not out of the question to think that Tyler Algier could wind up having a very productive fantasy game.
I don't. Week one. Yeah.
Go ahead, Pat. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, especially week one. I got to agree with that because, he knows the system. They're going to trust him a little more right now. It makes a lot of sense.
Jeremy Theo says, I'm looking forward to seeing Bijan with the training wheels off.
Sure. Of course.
I think it'll be nice to see it. I think it'll be explosive. $6,800 against this rush defense. I'm not really there. A guy who's getting like no love and no hype, and he's getting this like unique role, and I'm kind of interested in it, is Cordero Patterson. And everybody thinks, oh, he's dead. Cordero Patterson's dead. But I like the Joker package that Arthur Smith wants to introduce, where he's like a tweener between a running back and a receiver. He was drafted as a receiver. I'm willing to buy in on it. I haven't projected personally for 4.8 fantasy points, but like if I'm going to max out this tournament, which I am at 150 lineups, I'd definitely be interested there. As for the receivers, I don't like the matchup against the Carolina Panthers DB cores for either Mac Hollins or Drake London. I think I don't. If I'm going to pay up, it's not going to be against a really solid defensive backcourt like there. But nevertheless, is there anything else that you guys want to talk about this game? Who do you guys like to win?
I think Atlanta wins. Easy.
You think they cover the spread?
Yeah.
That hook, that 3.5. They
should
win. They should win this game.
They should.
There's no doubt about it.
They're going to win by 10.
They should cover that.
All right. Let's move on to the next game. Now, this next game, the spread can either be a gift or a curse. We're going on to Cincinnati versus Cleveland in Cleveland. The Bengals are -2 favorites. So the Cleveland Browns are underdogs yet again. And the over-under is at 47.5. Let's talk Cincy. Is there anybody in particular, JC, that you want in Cincy right off the jump?
Yes.
Yeah. Mr. Chase Bank. He's already calling them out as nicely as possible.
Yes.
Calling them like subpar, like you are just Cleveland. If we think that if I think that Jamar Chase is the wide receiver one, if I think that Jamar Chase is going to have well over 10 touchdowns, well over 1,500 yards, well over 100 catches, it ought to start with Cleveland. At 2 times a year. So it's going to be one of these two Cleveland matchups. He's already licking his chops. I think the bigger question mark is Burrow, and is his calf fully functional and ready to go?
Oh, he's good.
I think he is too.
That's my plug and play. You probably can get him cheap right now. Then you'll get him any other time of the year with that.
Yeah.
He's at $6,900. My concern with Joe Burrow is if he misses the first couple of weeks of training camp, he's more likely than not going to struggle in week 1.
That's a good point. He could be off a little bit on his throws, but
go ahead.
Well, will struggle or will not struggle?
Will. I feel like he's going to struggle a little bit this week.
Because he has a track record for it in the first game.
Yeah.
We've seen it for the last 2 seasons now. So
yeah. So I'm personally like more cautious to buy in on Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase simply because I think Joe Burrow, even though he has MVP like written on the wall for his upcoming season this year, I feel like this game is a trap. I feel like this game is an absolute trap. So I'd be more inclined to invest in the run game because I feel like here's where they need to invest in the run game. And last year, Cleveland was like one of the worst teams. They were bottom 4 against the rush. They gave up on average 24.5 points a game, fantasy points per game to the run game. So I'm going to be more inclined to, if I'm going to invest on anybody in this offense this week, I feel like it's a trap. They're going to utilize the running back. So I'm going with $6,300 Joe Mixon. How do you guys feel about Joe Mixon this week?
I don't mind him. It's a good play. I just like the over-under. Is that the highest over-under in any game, I'll bet?
No. The highest over-under is 51 for the
Miami.
LA Chargers in Miami.
Wow, that's going to be this game's going to be a shootout, though, too. I mean, that they know what they're talking about. Should be a lot of scoring. A lot of scoring in this game.
All right, so let's talk about the underdogs then. Is there anybody on Cleveland you guys want?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
I want Chubb all day. He's getting, most rock he's ever going to get right here. He's not seeing the kind of volume.
$1,000.
I'm all in. Put him up.
I hear you. What about you, JC?
It'd have to be Chubb.
It would have to be Chubb?
Well, you know what? Let me go back to that, security blanket theory of mine. Let's go David Njoku.
Oh, that's a good one, too.
I like that name. I like that play.
That's what's he going for? What's that price?
David Njoku right now is priced at $4,100, and I have him projected for anywhere between 10.5 to 12.5 fantasy points this game. So I don't think it's a bad play. I think David Njoku is a safe play.
I love that call.
Touchdown's
easy on this one with that over-under. Love that.
I think it's a good call. In Cincinnati, if they do struggle defensively anywhere, it would be against the tight end position. So, is there any last takes on this game? Anything else you guys would like to add before we move on to the next one?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right. We got the Houston Texans visiting the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 9.5 points. The over-under is 43.5. Are you guys taking the Ravens to cover the spread here?
I would. This is actually my lock.
Yeah, I guess you're right, because this is in Baltimore. If it wasn't in Baltimore, maybe that spread's a little high, but yeah, I'd have to say that. Lamar's got his money. He's going to play.
Yeah, true. Now, is there anybody on the Houston Texans side that you guys would be willing to play?
Dompe.
I like Schultz.
Let me just scroll down a bit. I got Schultz here at $4,700. It's a little pricey.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, he might be their number one target. Who's out there to catch? You got Nico Collins, I guess, but
I got one for you.
Good.
Listen,
Dameon Pierce, baby.
Oh, love Pierce. We already talk about him all the time. Love Pierce.
I think if anything, again, CJ Stroud's best friend in the check down. I'm not sold on Devin Singletary, although he was signed to come on in and have a role now. I think he'll spell Dameon Pierce at best.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dude that's going to be able to run in between the tackles, outside, and catch the ball. So I think Dameon Pierce is going to be the majority of their offense. What little offense will it be? Look at Disco. Look at that total. Is that like one of the lowest totals on the board? It's got to be.
It's towards that.
Yeah, there was a 30-something, but that's pretty low though.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you guys said Dameon Pierce, because here's something that I like about Dameon Pierce, and it's a prop I'm going to personally take because it's an outlier. I have him projected for 65.1 rushing yards right now, and the sports books have him at 54.5. So I'm inclined to want to take the over there. So I'm gonna smash the over there.
I love that. Love that call.
Yeah, but that's not his total. That's just his rushing, right?
Just his total rushing yards. Yeah, not rushing and receiving yards, just rushing yards.
So
you get that.
So let's say Disco is right on the money, 65 on the ground. Let's give him another 30 in the air.
Yeah.
It's about a 100-yard game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Easy.
Absolutely. That's
20 yards a quarter he could have easy rushing.
Wow. Yeah, that's easy money. Anybody else here on the Houston Texans? I feel like some of them are just dart throws where like none of them have any sort of like legitimacy behind wanting to play them. Nico Collins is priced at $4,900, and I have him projected for 10.4. It's not bad at the wide receiver position, but I believe that we could do better.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms of savings. Robert Woods, I believe, is dead, so I'm not investing in Robert Woods whatsoever.
I wouldn't have him any league of any kind of ownership. 0.
Tank Dell, CJ Stroud. I'm not there. Like, I need to see something from him for like more than 1 week.
Yeah,
I need to see some sort of consistency for more than 1 week before I invest in any of them.
Oh, well, let's stay with the 2 QB theme. What's CJ Stroud going for if you're going to play him in a super flex?
So if I were to play CJ Stroud in the super flex, he's going at $5,900 right now, but I have him projected for 13.8 fantasy points.
Let's go back now. All right. I hate to do this to you. Let's go back to Josh Dobbs. What is he projected at for QB?
He's priced in at $5,800, and I have him projected for 12.1 fantasy points.
A point and a half less.
Yeah.
All right.
He can run the ball a lot, I think. I don't think he's running that ball just scrambling.
Whereas Damian Pierce is $5,700 in a super flex, and I have him projected for 12.8 fantasy points, right? So it would make more sense to invest in the cheaper guy with more upside and more legitimacy. But I'm good on talking on Houston. I'm happy. I feel like we covered more on Houston than we should have. How do you guys feel about the Ravens? Is there any Ravens in particular that stand out to you right off the bat when you think about this game?
Probably Dobbins.
Okay. Pricing at $5,900. I got him projected for 13.1 fantasy points. There's no particular outlier prop for him that I absolutely love. Like, I have him projected to hit 3 yards more than his 60.5 props. I don't think it's significant enough for me to want to hit the over on that.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I don't think it's significant enough for me to do that. But I do think he has tremendous upside. I think he could ball out.
A lot of clock killing time for him, hopefully, right?
Sorry?
A lot of garbage clock killing time, I think, maybe.
Potential.
Unless they're easing him back. Yeah, unless they're easing him back with the injuries and all, and bring in Gus at the end because they're winning so big, then that could mess that up, right?
Potentially. Yeah, I completely agree. What about you, JC? Anybody you love here?
I mean, all we've been hearing for like the last 2 months basically is like, oh, this Ravens offense, this new Ravens offense, this rookie receivers, Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr. All we've been hearing about is this new offense. Oh, Mark Andrews now is back. But no, Mark Andrews isn't fully back. I'd be curious to see how the receiving group really is incorporated into this attack. And if they are, in fact, incorporated into this game plan, because, again, they should just get a lead, right? And want to control the game, right? Want to control the clock on the ground, and that would be with JK. JK would be the pick for me here.
Fair. I like JK. If I were to invest in one of the running backs, I believe I would be more inclined to go with Gus Edwards because you're saving. Like Gus Edwards is $4,400, and my man J.K. Dobbins is $5,900. So I'd be more inclined to go. But here's one player in particular that I really like, and I have him projected to outscore all the receivers except for Mark Andrews. Zay Flowers at $3,900.
Love that pick.
$3,900, JC. You said Zay Flowers, so
I did say Zay Flowers. That's right, and that comes at a discount for sure.
Oh, that's a massive discount.
But why? I mean, like, it took Garrett Wilson till week 2 to score 2 touchdowns, and that was 2 like late fourth quarter touchdowns. Chris Olave didn't score until a couple of games into the season last year. So I mean, like, is Zay Flowers just gonna freaking smash in week 1? It's possible, but I think that price tells us differently. But I had my hand raised before.
My bad.
No. don't ever apologize to me, Disco.
I'm Canadian. It's what we do.
No,
it is what he does.
The two of you, the one up top and the one to my bottom, way too nice. One of my closest buddies that I'm in my main league with drafted Gus Edwards, and I laughed my ass off watching it. Right. Left, and now he's got him in the flex. We start 2 flexes, and Gus Edwards is starting in the flex. should I still be laughing my ass off, or like why are you talking to me about Gus Edwards?
Garbage
At the end of the day, it like Patrick, you say garbage time, right? I don't see J.K. Dobbins being the bell cow back. They as much as J.K. Dobbins is the guy who's being mentioned and the guy who's being shouted out, and the guy who gets the itty gritty hard yards in Baltimore is Gus Edwards. And when Gus Edwards is healthy, he's also their red zone threat. So I like Gus Edwards more so for the touchdown upside should they get to the red zone. That's where I like Gus Edwards.
Wasn't that kind of predicated on a non-healthy JK though?
No, because when they were both healthy and when they were both playing, they still split carries. So that's why it's backfield that in redraft I'm avoiding and I'm fading completely. But in best ball, I was trying to get as many double stacks of J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards as early as possible. We got a chat here. Action One says Lamar passing. I think Lamar's going to have a massive game. I think he's going to have a spectacular game. But
I think so too.
I think he might be the number one scoring quarterback on the week. That's where I have Lamar. But $7,300 is pretty spectacular. I got him projected for 22.9 fantasy points. So whoever has Lamar Jackson against the Houston Texans, they're going to be eaten.
Yeah, the Texans didn't just all of a sudden get great.
No. I mean, they did add DeMeco Ryans.
It's better. It's a lot better.
Yeah, they added a few pieces there. Like they brought in a couple good run-stopping linebackers in Corey Littleton and Denzel Perryman. Yeah. And they obviously drafted Will Anderson, who's absolutely spectacular. And they got DeMeco Ryans, whose 34 defense is always good. But I feel like they're missing a few pieces, and they're not going to be there yet. I think they're a year away from being good and awesome. But yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about this game? Anybody else you guys want to talk about?
Maybe likely if Andrews is out,
That's a great play. He's priced in at $3,700. If Mark Andrews is out, Isaiah Likely is a must start. I completely agree.
I think Isaiah Likely is likely to see the field.
Yes.
Even if Andrews is healthy.
Yes.
I likely what you did there. I like it.
I know you do.
I like it a lot. All right. So do we have anything else to talk about this game, or are we good to go to the next one?
Good to go.
All right. We got Jacksonville Jaguars visiting the Indianapolis Colts. And yes, that's not the full Indianapolis Colts logo. It looks more like a toilet seat. And I'm keeping it because they are shit. They are garbage. So the Jags are -4.5 favorites. The over-under is 46. Who wants to go first? Talking about let's talk about the shit team first. Let's talk about Indianapolis. Is there anybody there that you guys like that you guys be inclined to want to take?
Another rookie starting quarterback, so we could put a X right there. Although I think the kid will be good. I do.
I do. He'll run a lot.
I mean, just do you start? I mean, do you play Michael Pittman here? Like just because like Anthony Richards and the Colts will be down in the ball game and they'll have to throw?
Yeah, maybe. But
he's priced in at $5,800, and I have him projected for 11.9 fantasy points. And he's probably the most likely player that I have in terms of odds. He's probably the most likely player to score on Indianapolis if he was to score. But yeah, I don't think he's a bad play. I think he comes at a decent price as well.
I can see Richardson getting 50 yards rushing. Maybe. I mean, he's going to be looking one read and run. That's all he's going to do. He's a rookie. He's not going to go through his progressions.
Okay, so for Anthony Richardson, his prop right now is at 45.5 rushing yards. I have him projected for 41.1 rushing yards.
So it's close.
It is close. It is close. I don't think I'm touching the under or the over there. I think I'm kind of just leaving that one. But a rushing TD, he's at plus 150 for an anytime touchdown.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
They could probably scheme something up for him in the red zone to just like on like a naked bootleg or something like that and just get him in.
Yeah.
Let's be real, fellas. Zach Moss, Evan Hall, Deion Jackson,
Yes.
I don't want any of them in the red zone. Honestly, you got Derrick Henry who could throw the freaking football in at quarterback. Just use them in the red zone. That's why I like Anthony Richardson. Here's another cool prop, and I'm definitely smashing the over here. His passing yards prop is at 190.5, and I have him projected for 211.7 passing yards. So that's more than 21 yards there. So I'm smashing the over there. I'm guaranteed smashing the over there. So look out for A-Rich. And the Jags, their defense flies around. They play really solid defense.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of holes and they give up a lot of yards. Where they're fortified and where they're strong is when they get into the red zone. That's where they either take the ball away or they give up the run, right? We do have a couple of chats here. Scott Reynolds says, I have to agree. I have to sit and watch the Colts game.
There's the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT's a big Colts fan.
Yes.
Ashton one says Jack's passing is second in the league this week. Total finishes second in passing to only Herbert this week, maybe Cincinnati. Noted. I honestly, I think you're spot on there. Now, in terms of the Colts, I mentioned those three running backs, those three toilet bowl running backs. Would you guys be inclined to want to play any of them?
If I'm desperate, Deion Jackson.
Yeah.
Fair. What I have? I have him priced at $4,600, and I have him projected for 8.8 fantasy points. I'll just take Zay Flowers in the flex. $3,900 for Zay Flowers. I'm still like
all day.
That's what I'm about to say. Just go Don P. It's like, man, if you have to start Hull right now, or even Deion Jackson, then like, what kind of draft did you have?
Exactly.
I think you have a better option somewhere.
Got to, right?
I think so. I really hope so.
Yeah. I mean, if we knew Deion Jackson
says, yo. Sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, sorry about that. Manny's here. Cool. No, I said if Deion Jackson, we knew he was getting a full rock, I'd be all in. But we don't know that.
Yeah.
Plus, they're expected to be down in the game.
Right.
The game.
So they're not going to be running.
No. If they are going to produce anywhere, it is going to be in the passing game. But even then, like, I leave all the running to Anthony Richardson. That's why I love Anthony Richardson in best ball. That's why I love him in, non like QB, like 6-point passing TD leagues. I love him.
Yeah.
His rushing upside's tremendous.
He was being drafted all over the place in the Scott Fishbowl QB league.
Yep.
Up high too, right, Don P? Like
really high, crazy
round.
I was like, wow, it's a little early for me in a redraft,
or a little early for a rookie quarterback too.
Yeah, rookie quarterback. This over under though kind of got me scared. Like it seems pretty high for the Colts being the rookie sitting here, unless they're just expecting Jacksonville to blow them out.
Well, I mean, look at it this way: it's what 35 to 14 is very possible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's very possible, right?
Right.
Jeremy Thiel asks, is Leonard and Buckner playing? They should be. They should be. I believe they're both playing. Okay, so now that we've stopped talking about the Indianapolis Colts, is there anything else you guys want to add there, or can we go to Jacksonville?
Moving on to Jacksonville.
All right. Who do you guys like from Jacksonville this week?
Everyone not named Calvin Ridley.
Everyone not named Calvin Ridley?
That's correct.
That's
correct. In his first game back, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, his over-under receiving yards is around 65, 66, I believe. So even Vegas believes that he's not going to just like come back and put up like 85 to 100 yards receiving. Furthermore, it also goes to tell you that there's a bevy of options in Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
There's still Christian Kirk. There's still Evan Ingram. There's still what's his name?
Zay Jones.
Zay Jones. Thank you. And you got two running backs now. One of them being ETN, and the other is a rookie. So again, I like Christian Kirk in this game. His price is probably obviously a little better, I would think, than Calvin Ridley's. And I love Trevor Lawrence.
I love Trevor too. I like both of them a lot. I agree.
So to touch up on your point, JC, Calvin Ridley is at $6,200. Christian Kirk is at $5,600. So you're saving about $600 there. I have Christian Kirk projected for 12.9 points, and I have Calvin Ridley projected for 14.1 points. So it's worth the pivot. It's worth the pivot in my opinion.
Great call.
Yeah. My issue personally with the Tampa Bay offense, or not the Tampa Bay offense, the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, is that they just have way too many pieces to have a safe floor anywhere, right? They are stacked offensively. They're stacked at running back. They're stacked at the receiver position. I feel like the only guy who's kind of an outlier, but also doesn't have a safe floor whatsoever, is Evan Ingram. But Evan Ingram could also break fantasy football on any given day. I just can't count on him on a week-to-week basis. And if there's a healthy Shaq Leonard, I feel like Evan Ingram across the middle is not really going to be there as much as we'd like it. So in terms of Jacksonville, I don't think there's anybody I want. And the Indianapolis Colts defense is still pretty solid. They're still pretty good. They're healthy now. They got good pieces. So I don't love Calvin Ridley here. I love Calvin Ridley in general. I've been all in on Calvin Ridley all offseason, but this matchup in particular, I'm not there.
And I think, Disco, to your point right now, if we want to take the fantasy out of this, right, and we're looking at that -4.5 in Indianapolis, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Divisional game. It probably should be 3.5. But just because Jacksonville's got a better team on paper, it's 4.5 points. So
yeah,
I mean, the Colts will probably keep this a little bit more interesting than we may think of. But in the end, though, Jacksonville will probably be up by 10, 12 points, and then the Colts get that last minute late score that gets the game all the way back down to this 4.5.
Yeah, to right.
So it won't be as close, right, as the final score will dictate.
Now, here's somebody who I think could do well in this game on the Colts side, because you guys alluded to it earlier, and I just thought to myself, it makes sense. Exactly. So there's no Jelani Woods. The only issue is we got to pick between Kyle Granson and Mo Ali Cox, right? And there's nobody there who I'm like, this is the reliable guy. This is the guy who I want. This is the guy who I'm going to go with. They're both priced at $3,800, which isn't bad, but I have them both projected for under 5 points each. So I don't know if I were to try to get a filler in because I need to save some money because I got a Chase and a Tyreek Hill. That'll probably be the spot I do it at. So in terms of this game, is there anything else that you guys want to finish off with, or can we go on to the next one? What about you, Pat? Anything you want to say?
Lawrence is the only positive. I think he just spreads the ball around a ton. He's gonna throw for 300 yards. I don't see that's not a problem at all.
Fair. Very fair. I like the point. I like Lawrence this year a lot. I have him in my top 3 to finish this year as a MVP candidate. I'm just trying to scroll down to this next game because this next game, one of us is really freaking invested in.
Let's go.
One of us is super invested in it, and I'm going to let you take the lead, and we can talk about your team. We got the San Francisco 49ers coming into Pittsburgh. The Niners are favored by -2.5. That's the spread. The over-under is 41.5. Tell me on your Steelers, Poochie. Let me hear it, buddy.
Steelers are winning this game easy. It's not even they're not easy. It's going to be a close game. But I guess the -2.5 is pretty fair. But I'm all in on my Steelers. There's nothing I don't like about them. I guess I would say my favorite is still Deontay Johnson. I know everybody thinks the new shiny toy is the play, but Deontay's getting 100 catches this year, easy. And he had no touchdowns last year. He might have one this week, maybe 2.
Easily. He was the unluckiest wide receiver last year, and he still produced.
That's fact.
He still produced. So imagine if you sprinkle in 1 or 2 or even 5 touchdowns, which is what I have projected for this season. Imagine if you sprinkle that in. He's a top 10 potential wide receiver. Yeah. So I don't deny it. But he's only priced at $5,400 on Owner's Box DFS. I have him projected for 12.5 fantasy points. It's PPR format as well.
Okay.
5.1 receptions, 58.8 receiving yards. But I kind of like, as much as I like Deontay Johnson, I kind of like the other guy more.
Yeah.
You know who the other guy is, right?
Well, we know who the other guy is.
Mr. One-Handed Bandit, my man George Pickens, $5,000. I have him projected at 11.1 fantasy points, but this dude can take it 80 yards for a touchdown in any given moment in time, and he's going to make it look spectacular too. So
I'm surprised he's that cheap because I thought the hype would be on him.
And I thought they would be more expensive as well, but like San Francisco's defensive backs are absolutely atrocious. They are so bad. Their front seven spectacular, the best in the NFL. I'm not even going to debate it. They stop the run better than anybody else. You're not running the ball. As a Najee truther and a Najee owner in a lot of my leagues, like I hate it. I hate that matchup this week.
Me too.
It hurts my soul. But if I wanted to buy in on any players on the Pittsburgh Steelers, it would have to be these two wide receivers, and they're priced way too low. The price below the field, which doesn't make any freaking sense to me.
No.
What about you, JC? Is there anybody on the Pittsburgh side you like that we didn't touch on?
That we didn't touch on? No. Maybe. No.
Okay. What about guys that we did talk about? Is there anybody that you want to talk about?
I'm a big Deontay Johnson fan for all the reasons that were mentioned.
Well, we've been talking about him all year.
All the reasons, right? Your numbers really don't have anywhere to go but up. Pickens looks phenomenal. Najee looks phenomenal. I don't know. Is Muth maybe going to get a red zone score? Or I feel like Muth's going to be asked to stay in a lot this game.
Yeah,
they're going to need help on that O-line with this defense.
And that's an improved O-line too, if I'm not mistaken,
improved,
right?
Big improved.
So I think it's very, very bright for the Steelers. We have been talking, Disco, me and Don P, practically all off season that the Steelers will get back into the playoffs.
Yes.
I don't see it. It'll take three teams from that division to get there, but I don't see the Steelers not making the playoffs again for 2 years in a row. Right. I do want to talk about the other side of the ball. Now, I expect Pittsburgh's D to, really be charged up for this game. So how does that bode for CMC? How does that bode for Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel? Now, I'm a CMC owner, so yeah, there is some bias when it comes to my take on him. At the same time, though, this is a tricky matchup for all of the 49ers skill position players, I believe.
Yeah.
It's a hard read. It's a hard game. Again, the 49ers are asked to travel practically across the country again, back to the Midwest again.
That's a great point there. That's a big difference.
It's like they don't do them any favors early on in the season. However, they also think, the schedule makers believe that, we shouldn't take it easy on the Niners. Now,
week one, so it's not so much. Maybe week two, when they got to travel wherever they're going, is going to be a mess. They get there a little early, but still, it's a mess.
Again, just like to me, there's unpredictability between Johnson and Pickens for this particular matchup. I wouldn't want to put a strong recommendation on Ayuk over Samuel over Kittle to have the lion's share of the targets over CMC. Elijah freaking Mitchell might have over 100 yards rushing tomorrow, and he'll be on my bench.
No, CMC is going to have a great game. Steelers defense is still a little suspect.
So Disco, I mean, this is, again, if you're just a pure NFL fan, this is a great game.
Great game.
But we're not just pure NFL fans. We have some sort of fantasy, betting, everything else element wrapped into it.
Yeah. So if you're talking about just like a simple, should I be concerned about Christian McCaffrey? No. As long as that guy, breathes oxygen and is walking and is in a San Francisco 49ers uniform, he's going to put up 15 to 20 fantasy points as his floor no matter what. So
No matter
fantasy-wise, like don't be concerned about CMC. He's the safest bet any and every game if he can stay healthy, and you can't control if he's healthy or not. So a healthy CMC, play him. But major but in DFS, $7,500 for 18.2 fantasy points. Nope, not paying that. Not paying that. I'd rather pivot and get some performance elsewhere and try to play some money ball. I'd do that. I think here's what the most crucial piece of information that we're all missing is for this San Francisco 49ers offense. Is George Kittle ready or not? Because the passing game and the running game is revolved around George Kittle. The run game with him and Kyle Juszczyk, the pass game with him and Kyle Juszczyk, they set the tone in how that offense moves and how that offense spreads the ball. Historically speaking, if we're talking about the receivers and who are the biggest beneficiaries from a Brock Purdy run offense, Brock Purdy behind there, which we don't have like a large sample of, but historically speaking, with the experience we have and the sample size we do have from Brock Purdy, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, CMC, all these guys should have phenomenal games. I feel like CMC is going to be more involved in the passing game than the running game because though the Pittsburgh Steelers are very sound in the run game, where they are weak still is in the passing game, and in particular when they send the house and doesn't get home.
Yep,
that's where they get picked apart in the middle portion of the field. And I feel like if George Kittle's healthy, he's a must start. If George Kittle and Brock Purdy must start by any means necessary. Right. The only issue is he's not healthy. So if he is sitting, I would look at maybe Kyle Juszczyk as like a $3,300 pivot. I love Kyle Juszczyk anytime touchdown. I don't know why. I just like it. What's up?
No. I'm waving. I'm waving. It was a good show.
Oh, but like no, who's the backup there in San Francisco?
Mitchell.
As the tight end, the backup tight end to George Kittle. Because as I said, George Kittle is the guy who I'm most bullish on in terms of this offense. I think his price and I think his performance, it makes sense to me. It makes sense, and when it makes sense, it turns into dollars.
Yes.
Is there anybody else that you guys want to talk about in this game in particular?
I'm just a little nervous about Kittle playing. Is he 100% healthy, ready to go?
He's still questionable with a groin.
Yeah, he could be a late scratch.
So if he's a late scratch, I might just take the tight end. That's the backup. I just got to figure out who the fuck that dude is.
Yeah,
I think I'd go back to the Colts tight end, or let's go all the way back to Logan in Washington.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be a low-scoring game.
Shock a lot of people. He's going to shock. He's got the tight end whisperer there, Mr. Eric Bieniemy.
And he's finally healthy. That man just hasn't been healthy for a couple of years. Like, he used to be great.
And I'm telling you, the Wolf, Sam Howell, he is spectacular. He's got a cannon of an arm. I love Sam Howell this year. I really do.
I do too.
Right. So we good to go to the next game, fellas?
Let's go.
All right, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming into Minnesota. The Minnesota are expected to cover the spread by 5 points. The over-under is 46. Let's start with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who you guys like here?
Rashad White.
Rashad
White. Chris Godwin, maybe.
Godwin, yeah. White for sure against that defense.
I like that. I like Tampa's defense.
Yes.
Disco, right? They got some pieces that are formidable up front, right?
Yeah. So when I'm talking about this matchup in general and what I'm thinking, considering this matchup, the way I look at it is like I personally think that the spread is a gift. I think Tampa Bay is going to not only cover the spread, I think they might pull off the upset and win this game.
That's what
I go with that. You can go with that.
Would not surprise me.
So here's why. Last year, the Vikings were the worst team in terms of second worst team. Chicago was the worst in terms of quarterback pressures and getting the quarterback hit. Kirk Cousins still sat in there and took a licking and kept on going. But I don't think that's a formula for success moving forward. And they did nothing to address that offensive line situation. And they only got worse by taking out Dalvin Cook and replacing with Alexander Madison. So the run game is no longer something that's going to be a distraction for defenses. I think defenses, especially a front seven like the one here in Tampa, are going to tee off early and often on Kirk Cousins, and he's not going to be able to get the ball deep to a Justin Jefferson on a double move or past a double team. Justin Jefferson's going to get his, don't get me wrong, but
yes,
they did not address the positional needs that they needed to address this offseason. They actually got worse. Jordan Addison, sure, he's a fast wide receiver, looks good on paper, but it's redundant. It's like going to the grocery store. You need food for your family, but you leave with like a fizzy water. Like that feeds nobody. That helps nobody. There's no nourishment behind that. So what's the point of getting like a fucking bubbly when you could have gotten like some bread and eggs, right? So they need that nourishment, but they got the bougie water, hence Jordan Addison, who likes to go fast, whatever.
Bougie water.
So yeah, I mean, like Rachaad White, great play, and he's $5,500 here on the on Owner's Box DFS. I like Godwin a lot as well. I have Godwin at, scrolling down, $5,900. I have him projected for 14 fantasy points.
Okay.
So these are both really good plays, really safe plays, and I have them at their floor. So like that's without a touchdown. Every number I give you is without a touchdown in terms of like not quarterbacks. So I like those two names. I think Mike Evans has something to prove, and I think Cade Otton might actually be like a very good
another one
play because, as I said, Minnesota didn't address anything this offseason except for getting Jordan Addison and losing Dalvin Cook. They got worse defensively. Oh, we got a good defensive coordinator.
They got worse.
So what, you got like Flores, whatever, like, so what, you got a good defensive coordinator. He's not going to go out and play defense, and he's not like running a DeMeco Ryans or a Rob Saleh style defense. Like
exactly. Didn't they give up more points last year than they scored?
Yeah, team. Pretty close to it. Like the formula they had last year is not the formula for success, and they're like riding off of, we got the greatest comeback victory in the history, but you were behind by like almost 30 points against the freaking Indianapolis Colts. So who cares if you're right? You shouldn't have been behind by 30 points. There's something wrong, and we're going to see Minnesota crash and tumble, and I'm here for it. Like I'm excited for it.
You're here
because I'm not investing anywhere there. I'm trying to trade Justin Jefferson. I really am. I'm trying to get rid of Justin Jefferson. I don't want anything to do with this offense. Madison, don't want it. Hawkinson, he got paid. I don't want him either.
The only thing good is their defense so bad, they're going to have to throw a lot.
Yeah, they're going to have to throw a lot, but Kirk Cousins is going to get the shit kicked out of him. Once Kirk Cousins gets injured.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
Like if Minnesota has like a formidable defensive opponent, that'll only take them so far. Mm-hmm. Until either Cousins gets his ass kicked, as Disco's alluding, or the ball just gets thrown into the ground, which we know Kirk Cousins likes to do on a lot of occasions. Unfortunately, he makes a lot of good throws, a lot of impromptu throws, but then he also looks hideous at times.
Yeah, he can in a heartbeat.
So is there anybody on Minnesota that you guys like this week?
Oof.
Like, would you invest in Kirk Cousins this week?
No. Maybe he's a quarterback too, but probably not.
$6,500. I'd take Howell.
Yeah, I would take Howell too.
I'd take Howell over Kirk.
Howell might run 2 in, at least 1. I'll bet you Howell runs 1 in, easy.
He has sneaky athleticism, I will say. He's pretty fly, that guy. Pretty spry. You look at Justin Jefferson, $7,600 for 19 points. Once again, it's one of those situations where, like, if he was playing against a shitty defensive opponent, and like Tampa's defense is horrible against the pass, but like their defense will get interceptions if they're getting at the quarterback every freaking down, right? So I'm not buying $7,600 on Justin Jefferson. I'm not paying $5,100 for the bougie water, Mr. Jordan Addison. That's his nickname for me now. That's
Bougie
now.
water.
I don't know why, but it is. It's there. It's there. And I think KJ Osborne might be the only person who I'm interested in because he can be versatile enough to get involved in like the dink and dunk, screen double screen game. But $4,500, I got him projected for 7.7 fantasy points as his floor.
I'll just stay away from all of them.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We're not interested in anybody in Minnesota, really. You would think,
maybe,
wow, this offense, right? But nah.
Well, like there's the casual folks who are like, oh, Justin Jefferson broke fantasy football last year, or Alexander Madison's replacing Dalvin Cook, but they're not seeing the bigger picture, right? So I'd personally be inclined to like take the spread and maybe even take a lesser bet on the money line as well. Is there anything else you fellas want to talk about in terms of this game? No, moving on.
All right.
All right. The Tennessee Titans coming into New Orleans. The New Orleans are favorited actually by 3 points. The over-under is 41.5. Let's start with Tennessee. Who wants to go first here? Talk to me.
Nook.
Yes.
Chig. And Henry.
That sums it up.
Who's the first one?
Nuke.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Oh. DeAndre Hopkins. Sorry. Yeah. Having difficulty here. Okay. Sorry. Pulled it up. DeAndre Hopkins. Okay. So DeAndre Hopkins, Chigozie Mukonkwo. I love that freaking name. It's a great name.
Yeah, I just say Chig.
I don't even know how you noticed it. I still can't say it. Even
Chig. I bet you Chig's a good tight end play.
I think he might be a great tight end play. Let's look at his price. Chig's at $4,200. I got him projected for 7.3 as his floor, but it could be better. With
all these bad tight ends, you could play like matchups each week, like we're talking about.
Oh yeah, on a week-to-week basis, Chig's huge. But in terms of this matchup, there's not anybody on Tennessee I personally would want. Is there anybody that you guys is like a must start on Tennessee that you would want to play in one of these DFS owners box tournaments?
D-Hop for me.
D-Hop? Okay, D-Hop is
I think he's healthy. He's got
$6,500.
Ooh, it's a little high though, but
yeah,
he's going to be on fire though. I mean, he's healthy. Best you've seen him in a while. I don't know. But then again, Brian Tannehill though. Ugh.
Look at this total, 41.5.
Yeah.
Not a lot of scoring in this affair,
Not scoring either.
Yeah. I have D-Hop projected for over 4 receptions, so roughly around 4. 58 receiving yards and 12.2 fantasy points. That's without a touchdown. I'd rather take Treylon Burks if I were to go there. He's at $4,800, and they have like similar upside. If I were to pick between the two, it'd probably be
Burke's a little banged up still, isn't he?
No, he's full go.
He's healthy now. Okay.
Yeah, he's full go.
He was clear.
I can just see D-Hop, blowing the lights out of somebody and just taking one deep.
Against Lattimore, though, Marshawn Lattimore is a monster, dude.
You're right. You're right there. You don't think you think he's going to be up against him the whole time?
The problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that changes things a lot.
The problem is the quarterback here.
Yes.
So, I mean, Lattimore is really, really good, and his assignment would most likely, I would think, would be Hopkins, right?
It has to be.
What, to watch D-Hop?
Yeah, it has to be.
Fucking Tannehill, I don't see him being able to hit anybody on this team other than maybe his tight end. Yeah.
This might be the best receivers he's ever had, though, for Tannehill, truthfully, in his career.
I mean, I would say this is a downgrade from a healthy A.J. Brown and Julio Jones for 2 games.
It's a good point.
Yeah. Manny says
didn't have much.
Manny says, watch the Vikings score 63 points. I will retire. I will retire from. I will not just retire from talking fantasy football. I will retire from life.
Oh, Manny will rub this in on us too.
That is funny.
The Buccaneers won't allow that.
No. Okay, so let's talk Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry. He's pricing at $6,900. This is a tough run D. Are you guys willing to pay the piper for Derrick Henry here against this tough New Orleans Saints run D?
For this week, no.
No.
They had the matchup stuff. But I still love him. I mean, I want to play him while he's healthy before he gets banged up too much.
True. And you guys wouldn't like, is there anything in you that says maybe Tajay Spears is the move this week because he's a little bit more versatile, because he's priced almost half at Derrick Henry, or is it like, now let's talk about New Orleans?
Let's talk about New Orleans.
Talk about New Orleans. Unless Tennessee has a big lead, which I don't see that. That's the only way Tajay's getting all of
it. That's a good point. That I could see that. If but
a lot would need to happen for me for that to work. And if there's that much that needs to happen for it to work, it probably won't happen, and it probably won't work. So before we talk about the Saints offense, I want to know the spread. It could have gone either way, in my opinion. It could have been the Titans as the favorites here.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? It could have gone either way. Do you guys feel like you have like a notion or an understanding of who's going to win this game? Who's going to win? If you guys had to put your money on it, who's going to win? Because I might tell you.
I'm probably going to go Saints just because they're home and you get the crowd. That's week 1. That's why they're giving them the 3 points. I think otherwise it like you said, it's either way.
Yeah.
One play will change this game.
Yeah. What about you, JC?
I'd agree fully.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, -3 to the home team.
Okay. I feel like people are giving Derek Carr way too much fucking credit. I feel like people are giving Derek Carr way too much credit. I said
they're really not. They're really not. They're only giving him a field goal's worth of credit.
Yeah, but they're giving him like the fact that he won't throw the game away kind of credit against a formidable defense, a very solid run game, and as you said, an improved offense on Tennessee. Tennessee's relatively solid everywhere except for their DBs.
If this fucking game was last season with Andy Dalton, it would be -3.
You think?
So, yeah, I do. At home. So they're not. They're still disrespecting Carr. So,
but Carr could throw that pick 6 at the end, and
yes,
there's the game change right there, right?
Or two, right? And that's something we can rely on Derek Carr for.
Yeah.
But I have him projected for 252 passing yards, and the sports books has them at 242.5. So that's 10 yards over. I'd be inclined to take that. Everywhere else, it's pretty dead even, but 10 yards over the pass. I think I'm going to take the over on his passing yards there. And I do like his receivers a lot here because we know that both teams cancel out each other's run games. So I think what it's going to come down to is which receiving core is going to step up to the plate. And I think Chris Olave is going to have a monstrous game. And I think Michael Thomas might impress a few folks here. And they both come very conveniently priced. Chris Olave is only at $5,800, and I have him projected for almost 16 fantasy points this week.
That's a steal.
That's an absolute steal.
That sounds like a steal.
It's definitely a steal. And then Michael Thomas I have him projected for 11.3 fantasy points, and he's coming in priced at $5,200. I might stack these guys. I honestly might stack these guys.
But you hate Carr though.
Okay, Carr. The reason why I hate him is not because he doesn't have a big arm and doesn't have the balls to throw. It's because he doesn't make his reads. He just chucks it up, right? But if you're a quarterback who's going to chuck the ball up, like your receivers are going to eat. Devontae Adams ate last year.
Well played.
Devontae Adams had a phenomenal season last year. Fantasy wise, it was spectacular. But if we're talking about like winning football games, yeah, Derek Carr, he's going to lose more points on interceptions than he's going to get on passing touchdowns this season. That's my projection. That's my outlook for Derek Carr. Is there anybody like Jamal Williams? We haven't talked about him. He's like the clear-cut starter. There's no Kendry Miller. There's no Alvin Kamara. He's priced in at $5,800. If it was any other run defense, I'd be all over this. I don't know how you guys are playing this.
He's still going to get all the ball, though, right? He's getting all the rock.
Yeah. He's going to get a lot of.
He's going to have 20 carries. I mean,
there was only a limited amount of games last season when Jamal Williams was really asked to take on that type of load, and he really wasn't that great. We all know that he was much better in that complimentary goal line
yeah.
role to the tune of 17 touchdowns. I don't think he's going to have that this year, but he is going to be like the feature back tomorrow. But I just don't know what kind of workload.
20 carries, 55 yards or something, right?
Yeah, I just don't know how much he's going to be able to handle and be like that type of skilled running back. Always in between the tackles, outside, off tackle, in the passing game. I don't see that type of role for him, but still, nonetheless, I think he'll have a good game. He should have a good game.
I'm glad we're talking about Jamal Williams because you and I were both right about David Montgomery. Shout out to David Montgomery.
Yes,
you called that big time.
I'm sure we're talking. Never mind. Go on.
No. What were you going to say?
I was thinking of David Montgomery's old team that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh, speaking of them, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. 4:25 p.m.
Did we rush off Jamal Williams just to get to this game?
Oh, I'm ready.
I don't think we rushed off of Jamal Williams. I think if it was any other defense, any other run defense other than a Mike Vrabel Tennessee Titans run defense, which is historically a top 5, top 10 rush defense year,
it's gonna be.
I think he'd be a good play, but I'm not playing him because of that run defense.
Totally agree.
I don't think they're going to get to the red zone by ground and pound. I think if they do score, it's going to be big bombs to those two spectacular wide receivers. So my bad for jumping the gun there. I just thought it was the perfect segue, but
it was an excellent segue. Excellent segue.
So you guys ready to go back to Chicago?
Oh, well, let's go to Chicago. Love it.
All right. Chicago is favored by only -1.5 points. The over-under is 41.5. Christian Watson's not playing, but there's no longer trolls on Twitter harassing Christian Watson's mother. Shout out to Disco Ball Nation and the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Football Squad. We took care of a troll. I felt like a male Karen. It was absolutely phenomenal and super fun. I enjoyed it. But let's start with you, JC. No Christian Watson. Romeo Doubs is banged up. Is there anything that you like on Green Bay this week?
This is a tough spot. It really is. I do believe in the Packers. I do believe in Jordan Love. I have from the get-go. This is one of those situations. A young quarterback, although this is his 4th season, is going to be asked to rely, and not necessarily maybe asked to rely on, but I think LaFleur is just going to implant it in him that, we are going to run this ball. We are going to do a lot of dink and dunk, and we are going to, for lack of a better word, manage this game. That may not be enough for the Packers to beat the Bears in Chicago. And this is, again, this is now, this is Justin Fields' coming out party. This is supposed to be the Justin Fields season. This is the year that, Justin Fields becomes a passer with the new wide receiver, yada, yada, yada. Green Bay's defense is still pretty good, right? They still have Jair Alexander, correct?
Right.
The spread indicates that this is going to be a close game. It does. They'll wind up splitting throughout the year. Most likely they'll win at Lambeau, right? They'll most likely win at Lambeau later on in the year. I think we'd give this game to Chicago. Again, based on the fact that they're down a wide receiver. We're asking too much of Jaden Reed to just step in and just all of a sudden
he can handle it.
Yeah, we saw how well Sky Moore did. I mean, why should
God.
So I mean, it's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask.
Sky Moore is rough.
I like Aaron Jones a lot in this one. I like Musgrave a lot too.
Oh yeah, Melissa Harris says Musgrave.
Yeah,
Luke Musgrave. I forgot about him.
I was talking to Farquhar earlier and looking for a tight end for tomorrow. One of my leagues because I only have Kelsey. I think I'm going to roll with Musgrave. I mean,
it's a good
rolling guys out. I mean, I'll take that offer. I'll take that.
Fair. Fair. So Musgrave right now is priced at $3,700. I have it projected for 7.6 fantasy points. I don't think they're going to win. If they were to win in the passing game, and if they were going to win in the passing game, it's not going to be the Musgrave. Because
Romeo is Romeo playing?
He's questionable, but
Yeah.
he's more likely to play than not play. So I'm going to go back to what JC said, and like I'm going to tail off of what he said. I feel like this is a big game for Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon both, and I feel like whatever volume we have them projected for, it's going to be amplified significantly because one, they need to protect Jordan Love. They have the offensive line to run behind. And I wouldn't be shocked if we saw both of them on the field again at the same time, like we did a couple of times last year. My only issue with AJ Dillon is like he doesn't ball out until it's like the last half of the
December.
year. Yeah, when it gets cold and nobody wants to hit the quads, that's where I like him. But should they get into the red zone, he's a surefire punch it in kind of guy, and like he has a lot of touchdown upside, and he's priced way more conveniently than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is $6,200. And AJ Dillon's only $5,300, and I feel like they're both going to eat. And it could be any one of them who breaks one big. That Chicago rush defense, it did improve this year, but it was one of the worst last year, bottom 5 last year, which is very unlike Chicago, where they are not good at stopping the run. I don't know what's going on with this new regime, but it's very like not Chicago.
It's flipped.
It's flipped. It's weird.
It wants to be an offensive juggernaut, and now they're just like, we don't need to play defense.
Right.
But they did improve defensively. They brought in 2 phenomenal linebackers, and they brought back Goldman. Like they're solid defensively. I like Brisker a lot. I think that safety is going to. There. I think he's going to make some serious noise this year. I think he's gonna deliver somebody to God, and it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be sick. All right. Anybody else? So did you guys say you like Jordan Love this game?
Not me, no.
It's a tough game. It's a tough game. Like what are we talking about? Are we talking about one touchdown? Is that like? No, I don't think so. I mean that only means what? 7 air touchdowns? No.
Yeah. Well, he's pricing at $5,800, which isn't bad.
It's a tough spot.
It is a tough spot. And I haven't seen enough from him in the running game to be like, okay, this is a must play.
Right.
So
he can run though. I just haven't seen enough. You're right.
Exactly. Whereas like on the other side, if you guys are cool, we'll talk about Chicago. Who do you guys like there?
Well, some of the guys that we already mentioned. I mean, Justin Fields.
Yeah. Okay.
DJ Moore,
yes, both of them. I'd stack them both.
Okay, so I got Fields here at $7,000, and I got him projected for 20.2 fantasy points, and then your stack option that is down here, DJ Moore, he's at $5,700, which is pretty convenient price. But good. Like JC mentioned earlier, I'm worried about Jair. I think Jair's going to blanket him the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
12.5. So if I had to pivot from the passing game, this new looked passing offense of the Chicago Bears, and go to the running game,
Khalil
Herbert pricing at $5,400. But then again, is this Green Bay defense somebody we want to start Khalil Herbert and pay the piper at $5,400 for in Owner's Box DFS?
Yeah, it's a good point.
What's the alternative price on Dante Foreman?
Dante Foreman is priced in at $4,600. Roshan Johnson's priced in at $4,300. I don't think this is going to be a Roshan game though.
I don't either.
Not his first game, not as a rookie, no.
No, I think maybe later half of the year I'd be way more bullish on Roshan, but right now it's either Herbert or Foreman. I think just based off of like style, I don't want anybody from the backfield there. And I think Justin Fields, he could win it. He could be like the DFS winner. But how many other people are playing Justin Fields? How am I getting unique?
Yeah, you're right there.
In the same manner that we think Jordan Love will have to either, check the ball down or go with the short passing options. I think we might see the same thing from Justin Fields if we believe that like the Green Bay secondary is going to blanket DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney and Chase Deadpool.
Right.
So I think that might open it up for a lot of Khalil Herbert.
Yeah,
that's an ex-Steeler, man. I love him.
I think that's a very, very valid point. But I think the only reason why I think Jordan Love needs to be passed, has to rely on his running backs a little bit more is because he doesn't have Christian Watson there and Romeo Doubs is banged up.
Well,
so should Romeo Doubs sit because he's still up in the air? Those running backs are like, doesn't matter what the price is, you have to buy them both, right?
100% agree.
Whereas like Justin Fields has all of his weapons, and we didn't even talk about how I commit your mother.
Can we?
Commit your mother.
And I just want to like reiterate one more time. I think that the three of us can agree on that. It's just this game, this particular spot, this particular matchup.
Yeah.
Right.
Week one.
Yeah, exactly.
And the numbers and the spread tell us like, yeah, this is a tough matchup. 41.5 minus 1.5. This is it's a 110-year-old rivalry. I mean, this is a tough game. This is a tough.
It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle.
A third-year quarterback making a start versus a 4-year quarterback, but only played in like 4 games. This is a tough game.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough to be bullish on any sort of like this is who's going to win and this is who's going to lose.
Exactly.
Kind of deal.
You can't do it on this one, right? I mean, the only way I'd pick the Bears is because of the injuries for Green Bay.
Exactly, and I was going to say the exact same thing. So, is there anything else we want to talk about in terms of the Chicago game? We still got 1, 2. We still got 4 more games to talk about. Anything else we want to talk about in terms of the Chicago game?
No, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Let's get out of this game.
Yeah, moving on.
Please.
We got the Seattle Seahawks as 5-point favorites against the Los Angeles Rams. Let's start with the LA Rams. Is there anybody that you'd want to play in fantasy DFS this week? Anybody you like there?
Nobody for me.
The Rams, if anything, Higbee. Again,
Maybe.
the tight end. This is like my least favorite offensive position, yet I've heard myself call out a tight end all show. But again, if Stafford's going to have a hard time also, much like our previous quarterback, he's going to have a hard time as well. He's going to have to rely on the run game. And I'm not, and Disco, I don't know if Cam Akers is the freaking answer. Like he's just going to carry over from last season into this season. I know a lot of people believe that. I know a lot of people want that to happen. Just a matter of, I think we need to see it.
Yeah.
But what's more probable is that Stafford will have to rely on his tight end again. So if anything, Higbee.
Puka Nuka or something. That's about it, huh?
Puka Nakua?
Puka Nakua. Gotta love that name.
Well, Puka Nakua is priced in at $3,500, rightfully so, because I haven't projected for 5.7 fantasy points. This is not going to be the game he balls out.
No.
But back to the Tyler Higbee, I haven't projected at 10.6 fantasy points, 4.3 receptions, 43.6 receiving yards, and if anybody's going to get a receiving touchdown there, it's probably going to be him. And he's priced in at a pretty penny, $4,400. That's a great play at the tight end position.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I also feel like a lot of people are thinking the same thing. As for the Cam Akers point that you made earlier,
what do you think?
$6,000 in this matchup. Sure, he's going to get volume. I haven't projected for over 15 touches. He's going to get yards, over 67.6 rushing yards. But
he's going to get
other than that, $6,000. That's like
I don't think he's going to get volume if he's averaging 2.7 yards a carry and running into the Seahawks defensive line, right?
It's the same thing as Jamal Williams. He's going to get opportunity because there's nobody worth.
I guess it is. Right? I guess it is.
That over-under is 46, though. Why is that over-under so high with this team looking so bad? I mean, you think it'd be in the 30s.
Both defenses have some gaping holes. I will say Seattle's greatest weakness is defending the tight end position and the run game. So that's why Cam Akers is a hot topic this week.
Yeah.
But like the LA Rams are freaking atrocious on the other side too. And Kenneth Walker's priced the same at $6,000. So I'd be more inclined to want to get Kenneth Walker, who does have a RB, 2, like right behind him, and wanting to pip him and take
Completely
over.
agree.
But I'd be more inclined to want to invest in a Kenneth Walker just because of the upside. The offensive line is far better. And I feel like as bad as the Seattle Seahawks rush defense is, their defense is also really solid. They got
Agreed.
Bobby Wagner back. They got a couple key pieces. Sure, Jamal Adams isn't back yet, but
Seattle's up a couple touchdowns. You're going to have to throw.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
Seattle's crushing them. This game ain't even close.
So what about Van Jefferson? Do we trust Van Jefferson to be the wide receiver 1 with Cooper Kupp out for the next 4 weeks?
No,
Not
he
really.
can't. Yeah, he can't. He can't take a number 1 corner.
Not really.
Okay.
I like him as a wide receiver too.
Yeah.
With a healthy Cup, I would like that much better than him being a primary option with a Matt Stafford and a suspect O-line. It's a tough situation there. It really
Cup
is.
even going to play at this point.
And they're in Seattle. That's a tough game for them to start off. Another tough game.
Yeah. Okay.
-5. You sure it's only -5?
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm certain. It seems like another gift, right? But
that is a gift. It really is.
Yeah, there's a couple gifts in here. That's why we go over every single game. That's why we go over every single game. We literally talk about it. We try to figure it out and sort it out amongst each other, and we come to a consensus. This is a fucking gimme, right? It should be a gimme.
This is a gimme.
Yeah. So I'm done talking about the Rams. I feel like they got way too much airtime. Let's talk Seattle. Are you guys good with that?
Good.
Yeah, there's really maybe 2 guys that I would want to talk about in Seattle.
All right, let's talk about them. Bring them up.
One of them is Kenny Skywalker. The other one would be Jackson Smith in Jigba.
Love Jackson.
Ooh, Jackson Smith in Jigba.
I take that back, guys. I take that back. I'm a DK. I'm a DK guy also.
I like DK too.
Very small shares, so it's not like I have them in multiple leagues. But I am a DK believer. What I am not is a Tyler Lockett guy.
Yeah, me either. I think Lockett he's a good big play guy. I guess if you're in daily though, I like him because he has his games.
Yeah,
he's just not consistent.
So so let me just talk about the receivers here in terms of like owner's box DFS. Who you'd be more inclined to go with? $6,400 for DK Metcalf, $6,000 for Tyler Lockett, $4,800 for JSN.
Now that sounds like that Zay Flowers price. That sounds like the Jordan Addison price, right?
Yeah.
Jordan Addison was $5,200.
Okay.
Was he?
Yeah.
So Zay Flowers is higher or lower than JSN?
Zay Flowers is $4,400.
Oh.
I'm going Zay still. Yeah.
I feel like Zay was $3,800.
Wow.
No, that's too low.
I know it's too low. That's what I'm saying. And then guys like Ezekiel Elliott, $6,400 in this tournament. Who the fuck is paying $6,400 for Ezekiel Elliott?
Nobody. Yeah.
No, I mean,
some idiot.
Maybe if Ramondre's sick, but like we're not at that game yet. We'll get there. I feel like JSN at $4,800, I think is a trap. I think DK should have a good game. I think Tyler Lockett's got the safest price and the safest production because every year we say Tyler Lockett's done. Like Geno Smith is the quarterback, and Tyler Lockett's not going to perform. Tyler Lockett performed. I have projected for 13.3 points, and Geno's going to get him the ball, and he's going to get him the ball deep. And the reason why he's going to do that is because there's no Jalen Ramsey back there, and there's literally nobody back there. That defense is bad. That defense is bad for LA, and it's another one of those defenses where it's like they've been good for so long, and now they're just completely atrocious. They made Russell Wilson look phenomenal last year, and they got worse. So yeah,
Is there a world that you could see that JSN winds up just supplanting Tyler Lockett altogether in like a short amount of time? Like I'm not talking about like week 8, week 9. I'm talking about like week 2, week 3.
if I'm talking stylistically, I feel like they're both completely different styles, right? This is a PPR format. I feel like JSN's going to eat in terms of like his route running ability,
Yes.
beating the coverage, finding the
Yes.
hole. He's that intermediary kind of guy, right? Whereas DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they have as high of a ceiling as anybody could possibly have in fantasy football. Their ceilings are all the way up there. So yeah, in a perfect world, JSN is going to be a far better pro than Tyler Lockett. But since all three of them are there this year, they're going to use what they have. JSN's still coming off of a broken wrist. So sure, he's healthy. Sure, he's going to play. But we know he's not going to be an every down player. We know they're not going to be in a 3-down system all the time. And just because of the injury, this game alone, I'd be more inclined to want to invest in Tyler Lockett than JSN. That's why I feel like that price is a trap, because his utilization is not going to be up there.
Well, Jason's a rookie too, so it might take him a little while to get up to par,
Yeah.
I think JSN is special talent. Talent where I just not so much the age of Tyler Lockett. I just feel like he's limited at best at this stage in his game. Like where he just like he's kind of just like a vertical threat.
He has that home run
Fast,
for nothing.
Fast guy, athletic guy.
Reminds me of Deshaun Jackson a lot towards the end,
But his route running is like Julian Edelman. Like, he's a phenomenal route runner.
Tyler?
No, not Tyler. Not Tyler. I'm talking
JSN.
Yeah,
JSN. JSN
he does it all.
Complete every part of that route tree, so to speak.
Yeah.
Every part of that reception perception.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. What about Geno? We're talking about all those receivers. Why wouldn't we buy in on Geno?
You're right. Right. It actually goes to it goes into part of my theory on like the receivers in Miami, right? So yeah, why the hell are we thinking that Geno's not going to have a great season? Because it's Geno Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's Geno Smith. Like, okay, he did it last season.
1 year.
He did it very well last season, right?
Quarterback 5, right? On the season.
Yeah, most formats. Yeah.
I need to see him do it for a few more weeks now this season.
But I mean, like, even Derek Carr can do it against this defense.
Yeah.
Take care of the football.
All right. So if you want to go on a matchup on a singular week one slate, yes.
Yeah, this is the week I'm playing.
Geno Smith could very easily throw 3 or 4 touchdowns and over 300 yards.
Yeah, I love Geno. His pass yards prop is only at 247.5. I got him projected for 256, but once again, that's at his floor. So
right.
I'm probably going to take over there.
That Zach Chardonnay could be a nice little play too. I mean, he's going to catch some balls, right? This defense is terrible. They
had a really good draft.
Really good draft.
For like 2 years in a row now. Like this team might compete like seriously for the NFC West.
I agree.
I remember early last year where they were like, so who are you guys looking to trade? They were asking Pete Carroll, are you guys looking to trade a quarterback? Like, you just lost Russell Wilson. Are you guys looking to trade? He's like, no, I'm happy with Geno Smith. Geno Smith's my quarterback. That's my guy. And everybody's like, has this guy lost it? Like, is he senile now? Is he off his freaking rocker? And Pete Carroll, like, all the shots that was being sent at him, he just took it, and like, he came back better than ever. I just love that man. Me too. I think you can't knock him down. You can't.
You thought they were going to be rebuilding and just get rid of everybody, and totally the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely. And they even brought back Bobby Wagner, who was like, somebody who was upset apparently with the program with Pete Carroll, and he's back, and he's back to running their defense, and he's doing it at a discount. So good for Pete Carroll. He's doing a phenomenal job. Enough about this game. Unless you guys have more that you'd like to discuss. Do you guys want to go to the next game?
Yep, I'm ready.
JC, you good?
Ready when you are.
We got the Las Vegas Raiders against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are -3.5 favorites. The over/under is 43. Talk to me, fellas. We can do this one rapid fire. Is there anybody in this game? You don't have to talk about, the Raiders. You don't have to talk about the Broncos in particular. Anybody Like, if there's one guy in this game that you're like, I gotta have him.
Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs?
Yeah.
I have him projected for 16 fantasy points as his floor. He does have a 0.6% chance to get into the end zone, so I like his anytime touchdown prop as well.
The Josh Jacobs anatomical
Adaptation?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I like that you remembered the anatomical part.
Oh my, you don't forget things like that.
That's the only part I remember. For the Broncos, I would love it if Jerry Jeudy was healthy. There's a chance that he may play, but
Yeah,
he does.
As of now, he practiced, so he's all signs are pointing that he should.
If he practiced Friday, we're good.
I'm a Jeudy guy.
Me too.
I'm
not this week.
Probably not this week, right? I'm also a Samaji. I'm a Samaji guy. I think.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think that Sean Payton will use 2 running backs no matter what. I don't give a crap how healthy or how recovered Javonte Williams is. Yeah. I think they're both going to be utilized, much like running backs that he's had in New Orleans were always utilized. 2 backs. He loves 2 backs.
Who's that rookie out there? What's his name? McLaurin, or what's his name? That they're telling you he's getting a lot of ball this week.
On who?
Marvin Mims?
No, the running back out there in Denver, the rookie.
Oh,
yeah, they got some rookie out there. Just reading it. They said they're going to feed him.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise again. So
this would be Denver, exactly what they would do too.
So to that point,
I don't even know his name, but
even if it's number 3 guy on the depth chart that could wind up coming in and taking carries. But for now, until we see otherwise, I think Samaji is the guy to maybe take in a flex option or a second flex option. Disco.
Yeah, right.
Like my league starts too. I got Samaji in a couple of leagues. Actually,
I like Samaji a lot too.
Love Samaji.
And Samaji may very well get the call for me just because, again, I'm okay with getting that 10 to 12 carries and like some catches for X amount of yards. If he's my second flex, I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I'll live with that.
He was my most owned player in best ball. I absolutely love Samaji. Right now, I have Samaji projected for 10.1 fantasy points and Javonte for 10.9.
Give me Samaji.
The only difference is Javonte is $600 more expensive. So Samaji's coming in at the cheapo price of $5,100.
Well, he's the one he's the one that didn't shred his knee.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. His floor is why I like him so much. He is
week 1 with that shredded knee. He's not getting the full rock.
It's like I want 10 fantasy points. Samaji Perine, like I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. And should he score a touchdown, which he should against this terrible Raiders defense, then yeah. Anybody else in this game, fellas?
What's Devontae's price? Just out of curiosity.
Devontae Adams is priced in at $7,100. 16.4 fantasy point projections.
I'd rather start you, Disco.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. I'll win that jump off for you, baby boy.
You will get it. You will get that.
All right, on to the next game.
Yeah. I have a feel. Oh, I know. Yep.
All right. Yep. So we got the Chargers, who are favored by 3 to win at home, and the over/under is 51.
Start everybody.
This is where I want to. Now, Austin Eckler is expensive. He is very expensive, rightfully so. I think he's the most expensive player on the slate. Just trying to find him right here. Austin Eckler, he's $7,300. Nope, CMC is the most expensive. I like. He's at $7,500. But Austin Eckler, I have as my highest projected scorer at the skill position at 19.1 fantasy points, second to Tyreek Hill.
I love that. Especially this game's going to be close. The Chargers were winning big. I would go against that, but this game's going down to the wire. It's going to be.
So all right. So we're building our DFS, our daily fantasy DFS. What's the S?
Yeah, sports.
Right.
Daily
fantasy. I'm sorry. I know this will probably be my last show.
No, you're fine.
No.
I mean, this is the game where you're going to take one of these guys, right? Like you're going to have to pick one or two
or four
at a high price. This is like your high ticket item to put into a lineup, or what? Or we're just going to be putting in a lot of Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
So who are we going to put in? Is it Tyreek? That's a great play. Is it going to be Justin Herbert? That's a great play. Is it going to be is it Raheem Mostert? May not be a bad play. I mean, there's a lot of skill positions in this game that are going to lend to a lot of prices being as high as they are, and B, to the high scoring affair that Vegas thinks it's going to be, which we all think it is or will be.
Yeah, well, so I'm glad you said Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, I have projected to score more points than Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, and Jalen Hurts, and he's $600 less expensive than all of them. He's at $6,700. Make it make sense to me, right?
Yeah.
So everybody wants Tua. Tua, I like him. I like him in this game.
Don't
get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. But Justin Herbert, it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So if I'm liking Justin Herbert, I'm going to like his targets. But is it going to be, Mike Williams, or is it going to be Keenan Allen, right? Mike Williams is way less expensive than anybody here, and I feel like he has, just as good as of an upside as everybody else, right? So if I had to pick between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and the price difference is $600, I'll go with Jalen Waddle. Why the hell not? If I had to pick between Keenan Allen and Mike Williams,
love Jalen Waddle.
Where the price is $800, I'm going to go with Mike Williams. Why the hell not? And then, as a cherry on top, I'm going to go with
Keenan on
$100 Gerald Everett. Why the hell not?
Yeah,
Gerald Everett. Everybody's forgetting that this guy was absolutely balling out until he got hurt, and then he played through the injury.
Another tight end.
Yes.
Another tight end. I love Gerald Everett. Austin Eckler historically has burnt me in week ones, and I'm scared because I have about $150 on him to go over 33.5 receiving yards, and I'm worried now because I just remembered that he burnt me historically in week one. So
I think he's going to do this easy. I think he got that easy.
I hope so.
If it was an easy matchup, I wouldn't like it as much. I like the tough matchups one.
Yeah, I found a beautiful outlier bet where it was Sam Howell over 212 passing yards. Sam Howell, and then
I love that. That's my quarterback too. I'll take that as a quarterback too all day.
And then Austin Eckler over 33.5 receiving yards. I feel like it's a gimme. I feel like that's free money. 6 extra money. Why the hell not?
Yeah, you need to put that out on Twitter. That's an awesome bet right there.
I think he'll go over the 33 receiving yards for the simple fact that if we think that Kellen Moore is going to be utilizing Josh Kelly more on the ground, I think this leaves Eckler open for route participation and route running and a lot more of that.
But you also have Quentin Johnston now. You have a Josh Palmer. Would you really waste Austin Eckler in the receiving? Well, you're saying running routes out of the backfield as opposed to being like a
both.
Okay.
Yeah, both.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's really cool. Is there anybody else that we should consider? What about a Devon A-Chain?
Yeah, maybe not yet. I'll tell you what, I like Mostert a lot this week. It's a must start right now.
I wouldn't start A-Chain either. No, I'd find another running back like one that we just talked about. Our previous game. Definitely insert Samaje Perine.
I'm telling you, I like Mostert this week. He's healthy. He plays well until he's hurt. Ride it.
Here's my problem with Raheem Mostert. It's not that I don't like him as a player. It's that at ADP he was way too expensive for me to get at him because there's so much juice around him. And here on DFS, he's $5,600.
Nah, that's a little high.
You thought
he'd be cheaper than that.
Exactly.
I guess because Jeff Wilson's out, maybe that's why.
But Ezekiel Elliott's $6,400.
That's crazy.
So are we going to move on to the last game?
I don't think they're going to be handing the ball off.
No, you're probably right.
That's why I like A-Chain. At $4,700.
They're just going to be passing all over the place.
Yeah, everywhere, just pass. This is going to look like that Jets game. Or what was it? When they played the Dolphins back in the 80s. You guys are too young to remember this. They're dragging them off the field,
I was born in the 90s.
Yeah,
1990.
Really?
That's when I graduated high school. So.
Oh, geez.
I'm an old man.
Oh, you look young. You look young and spry. Speaking of young and spry, let's talk about the up and coming Mr. Jalen Hurts, who isn't up and coming. He's paid and he's here and he's ready to rock. They're coming into New England where the GOAT is having his jersey retired. We're celebrating Tom Brady. And what better way to celebrate Tom Brady than for Vegas to gift the Philadelphia Eagles a -3.5 spread and over 44.5 over under is the call. Who do you guys like here out of the four running backs in the running back room for Philadelphia right now? And it's like one of the only times I've ever seen or on an official depth chart. Out of the four running backs, which one would you want here?
I want Swift for now, just till he's hurt.
Okay, I'm just trying to find this game.
I mean, he'd be the best of the group. I don't know. Gainwell's even up. They just run the ball with too many backs.
Yeah, exactly. I like Swift too. I don't like his price because we just said Raheem Mostert's priced at $5,600, right?
Right.
What would you think DeAndre Swift's price is?
Probably
5,600.
Really?
Exactly. This is why we do this. This is why we do what we do. Right? $5,600.
Right there.
Make it make sense, right?
Yeah.
And then Rashad Penny is $5,000. Gainwell is $4,200. And it's like any of them can play well, but based off of ceiling, like I think DeAndre Swift at that price is an absolute steal because of his ceiling behind that O-line due to the receiving production that he could have.
Yeah,
healthy, he is a great fantasy football player. I feel like DeAndre Swift is a must-have.
No doubt. I love that then.
So I think it's
that
a great
price. At that price, yeah. All about price. That's what DFS is, right?
You're a lot more optimistic on Swift than a lot of others. That's for sure. I mean, a lot of people, again, they're either they're all on board with Rashad Penny. They're all on board with Kenneth Gainwell because he's the one that's been there. I mean, DeAndre Swift, yes, he's definitely talented. I'm not sure if he's that talented at that price against this defense.
Yeah.
But here's the other. I mean, the fact is, Jalen Hurts didn't throw to his running backs last year.
He's going to have to because he just got paid.
Yeah.
He just got paid, and he's going to have to start checking the ball down. He can't take those runs anymore. He's going to have to. He's going to have to.
That's going to have to be part of their plan, though.
Yeah, and like I need to do something, right? If Kenneth Gainwell is the guy, and he's the guy that people want to go and run with, why the hell would they bring in not just a Rashad Penny?
I agree with that.
If they were comfortable with them, but why would they trade for a DeAndre Swift at the same time? If Kenneth Gainwell was the guy,
they traded shit for DeAndre Swift.
But still, why would they make that move? Why would they make that move? And then why would they also be in trade talks for Jonathan Taylor if Kenneth Gainwell was their guy?
What? So, I don't know. I mean, Howie Roseman thinks, like, shit, I don't want, like, running backs. I don't want a marquee running back to get injured. I don't know. Look.
Yeah, maybe.
Or the flip side to that is, I just robbed the league of DeAndre Swift. Watch what happens.
That's where my head's at.
That's where my head's at.
It's one or the other.
He did it with Jalen Carter. He's been doing it.
I think Swift is an upgrade from where they were. I mean,
I agree.
It's definitely one or the other. But until we see that we'll have this conversation like 4 weeks from now. It's like, why the hell do they bring in Rashad Penny?
Right.
If he's getting 4 carries a game.
Exactly.
And Kenneth Gainwell and DeAndre Swift are the ones that are splitting third down role.
I think the Eagles are stuck on their running backs are always hurt. Miles Sanders never healthy. Just that's why they want all these backs. They're just going to stack them up, and whoever stays healthy and plays the best will be the man. But I think it's Swift.
Okay, so let's talk about the other side. Let's talk about Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, he's pricing at $6,200, but he's sick right now.
Cool.
And it's crazy to me that Ezekiel Elliott is pricing at $6,400. He's $200 more expensive right now than Ramondre Stevenson. So there's a lot of advantage for you to take advantage of here on
inside scoop on something.
On Owner's Box, and like I've been Owner's Box now. This is my second year with Owner's Box, and we fucking cleaned house last year. We put in work. We made a shit ton of money because of the amount of research we put in and the amount of work we put in. So it's always cool to find these like outliers. Now here's another weird one. I don't know if it's weird, but Devonta Smith is at $6,600, and AJ Brown's at $7,000. Is this the game against the Patriots pass D that you would be willing to invest in either one of them?
Not really. Yeah, I mean the Patriots always have some good corners. And they know how to shut them down.
Yeah, I don't know about shutting them down, but I just don't know who to pick. Which one would I pick, right?
Well, I can tell you what happened with Devontae Smith's week 1 last season, which is a bagel. It was a bagel.
Yeah.
I don't like. All right, I shouldn't say I don't like. I'm higher on Devontae Smith at his price all preseason, all draft season than I was of AJ Brown's ability and his price tag in the first round or the early second.
Yeah.
Be that as it may, I guess maybe we should lean towards their alpha wide receiver 1 as opposed to their wide receiver 1B. Maybe
I would go the opposite on this one, just because I think Belichick likes to take your best player around. He likes to take your best player out of the game.
So and you're right, and I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, you're Bill Belichick. Are you going to double AJ Brown, or are you going to double Devontae Smith and leave which one kind of like single coverage?
Well, I think he puts his best cover player on Devontae Smith.
Yeah,
he puts the double on AJ Brown.
That's exactly.
Yes,
that makes sense now.
And then they leave Dallas Goedert wide open at the pretty price of $4,900.
Oh, here we go. We
$4,900 for Dallas Goedert. Holy shiitake mushrooms!
Can we put the tight ends in flexes here, or how many flexes?
Yeah, sure. We got 2 flexes.
Let's just flex up the tight end and spend the money everywhere else.
Tight ends are people too, man.
Yeah, let's
Now, I don't think there's anybody else worth talking about. I mean, we could talk about Demario Douglas, who's practically free. Like, you would get money back for playing Demario Douglas. And I love me some Demario Douglas, but I don't think I love me some Demario Douglas against the Philadelphia Eagles. But like here, and this isn't me being a homer or me being a fan. I feel like Brady coming back. I think the Patriots win this one.
Ooh, that's a big call. I don't see it.
I think the Patriots, like every year, every week, there's a freaking upset.
There is, and
every week there's an upset.
And if you're not excited for Brady,
I promise you, it's not going to be Arizona against Washington.
I can bet that would be my guarantee. Doesn't happen.
Yeah. So like, why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it happen? Why couldn't it happen? And this is not like an analytical take. There's no numbers that's backing this. This is just like, this is my upset of the fucking week. Like, if you had to pick one upset this week, who would it be?
Upset.
It's not that one. It's Tampa. I'll take the Tampa one we talked about for sure.
I thought you'd take your Pittsburgh Steelers over the San Francisco 49ers.
No, that's going to be a tough game. That's going to be a tough game.
I'm not sure that's a big upset either.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh over San Fran?
San Fran on the road in Pittsburgh. The upset of the week. The upset of the week is
Melissa Hare says next time I'm talking.
What am I going to do with this one? Probably Tampa. Yeah, I'm not even sure I would consider that an upset.
I don't think that's an upset. I think like.
According to the over/under the spread.
Well, to the casuals, it's
the bigger an upset, which I don't think is going to happen, would be the Texans. That's a freaking upset and a half.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's another good lock there, fellas. Man. I had a lot of fun doing this. This was
great
really fun.
Great time.
This was really fun. I know it was almost 2 hours, but like I really enjoyed myself.
We're just doing the main Sunday slate, not the primetime Sunday night and Monday.
No, because there's like
All right.
Here's the issue with DFS on the single games and why I don't touch it. Because even if you finish first, you're tied with 53 other people because there's only so many fucking combinations that you can get.
Yes, exactly.
I got you.
Right?
I got you.
So
your odds are way better.
It's
thought
like
for sure.
I've won first on a Thursday nighter or on a Sunday nighter or a Monday nighter, and I like by maxing out that tournament, I actually fell in the deficit. So I'll put one lineup in and say that's cool. So I'm not going to do any homework on that unless it's like for my fantasy football. Like my every week I provide tools in like my projections based off of like a whole bunch of. You guys got them. They're pretty cool. They're
definitely
pretty,
really cool.
They're pretty in depth. So every week I try to put those out for everybody, and I always try to like have good projections. And tomorrow, we'll see how they go. But this was fun because not only did we get to talk about DFS, we got to just talk about football and. There's nothing better than talking football with you fellas. I think the only thing better than talking football with you fellas is talking football with you fellas with Jonesy.
Yes, we need Jonesy here with his voice at least.
Yeah, the voice. Fergie and Jesus.
Then you guys got me with that, with the corners on certain players. That's a big factor. You forget to put that in week one.
Yeah.
Like D-Hop you're talking about, I'm like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why it's good to talk about it, right? And
yeah.
What
by week two, you're thinking about it. You're already like, oh, man, that's a shutdown corner out there. But week one, sometimes you forget those little things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I think what separates us from, like, other people is, like, we actually have football minds and we actually analyze the game, right? We it's kind of like we play the game through our head before the game actually happens. And it shows up on paper, too, the same way that, like, we get our projections through our visuals and we put it on paper. Yeah, man. I love talking football with you guys. You guys are always welcome to come back. I want you guys always here. This was very enjoyable. Hopefully we could do this regularly, like every week. Maybe not 2 hours.
Maybe not 2 hours, but that's all.
As long as Don P is available.
That's the hardest. But I'm good.
I had a lot of fun.
And Sniper.
Did you guys want to say anything to the folks who are tuning in, where they can find you guys and what kind of shows and content that you guys are putting out there on a regular?
No, we just appreciate everybody coming in, man. We're just thankful to join us anytime, whether it's this show or our show. It's all about supporting everybody. That's what we like.
Tell us about your show.
Good.
Where can we find you?
Good, Sig. You can do that.
Our show, the Patrick Pucci Fantasy Shows, on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, on our Twitter Spaces or Twitter X Spaces. We're just going to continue to keep rolling out with our awesome guests, awesome content that Disco Ball Nation, and Best Ball Jonesy, and many, many other great people are part of. So very excited about that.
Definitely.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in, the folks at home, and thank you guys for talking football with me and helping me get ready for this week.
It's awesome.
Till next time, folks. Enjoy.
Thanks, guys. Great to see you.
We'll see you guys next time.
Awesome time.
Great
Appreciate
time.
you guys.
Appreciate you too, man.